Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to season 2, episode 3, maybe?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it
Oh,
is.
I've totally lost track. It's my dementia. But I'll take your word for it.
Well, I mean, if it's not season 2, episode 3, maybe someone can correct
Maybe
us.
somebody will let us know, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and if you do, I'm sure we'll check the comments sometime. You never know.
We might get around to it.
But welcome, Emma.
Thank you.
As you know, I'm Dave Keane. I'm one of your hosts, and obviously joined by
Emma Spicer.
Well, yeah. We are watching. Oh, yeah. So this is obviously in season 2. So we're focusing on killer inanimate objects, and boy, have we got a killer inanimate object for
We have,
you
haven't we,
this
this week?
episode. We are going to be watching, Emma. Drum roll. Killer Sofa.
The sofa.
Ooh,
And I am going to confess that we have actually watched this movie before. That's
Yeah.
why we're excited, because we know it's good or
Yeah.
bad or...
I know, I know I do have a little bit of dementia myself, but I can remember some very, very magical moments in this movie.
Yes.
So yeah, very much looking forward to those again. Shall I remind us of the synopsis though?
Yes, please. It was a while ago that we watched it, wasn't it? So
Yeah, it was a bit. You're talking easily a year. Easily.
this was back in the days when we just used to watch bad movies for fun.
Yeah. Now it's a job.
And now it's... Is it a job?
No. It's like a job and a hobby. It's a
More
jobby.
like it's a job. I don't think it's a jobby.
I don't think it's a jobby.
Or maybe the listeners will disagree. It might be, in their opinion, it might be a bit of a jobby. But
Shall I just read the synopsis
you might have
and
to
move
explain
on?
what a jobby is to any American listeners or anyone from anywhere else in the world, because they won't know that.
Oh yeah,
Right.
because you definitely do not want to Google it, especially on a work computer. A jobby is a poo. It's Scottish slang for a poo. So yeah, it's just all a very amusing play on words, really, wasn't it? Anyway, shall we get on with the
Yes.
synopsis? All right, so when a Dybbuk-possessed reclining chair becomes enchanted by a girl and starts committing crimes of passion, a couple of detectives find themselves fighting their own demons while trying to solve this strange case with the help of a disgraced Jewish rabbi and an eccentric voodoo sorceress. To be honest, I don't actually remember the rabbi or the
Oh no, I hadn't
the
remembered that.
sorceress.
I just remembered though the one and only thing that annoyed me about this movie was that it's called Killer Sofa and it's actually an armchair.
Yeah.
And that bugged. I remember last time watching it, it bugged me the whole way through because I was just like, it's not a sofa though, is it?
Is it because it's set in New Zealand and they call
don't
do
know.
they call sofas like armchair sofas? I don't know.
Maybe.
If you're from New Zealand,
Let us know.
let us know. But Emma, there's also one thing that I nearly forgot.
What?
We have also a little slight confession to make. This is the first time we are actually sitting down to record since we released the podcast
It is,
previously.
isn't it? It's just awful
So-
because it's been so long.
Well, it's been long because we recorded an awful lot in advance because we know how just like stupidly busy we are.
Yes.
And we didn't want to let people down and be like, oh, sorry, no episode because, well, we just haven't seen each other
Yeah.
for a month. But so this is the first time we've had a chance to record. And because of that, we also released our Patreon and we've had people sign up.
Amazingly.
Which is amazing.
I mean, no one's more shocked than us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you very much to those of you that have signed up. And if you're thinking of signing up, now's a great time because you'll have like, what, 7, 8 episodes
Yeah,
of
something like
the flip side
There's a few,
to listen
isn't there
to
now? Yeah.
by this point. So you'll have quite a bit to listen to. So, you know, it'd be a good time to sign up. Anyway, if you want to, if you fancy parting with your cold hard cash so we can watch movies and get takeaway and talk about them. But on that note,
It's all going to charity.
yeah, it's all going to the charity of ES Limited. But I would, on a serious note though, I would like to thank Miranda Bertold.
And I am Steffi D. Is that
Look at
Oh,
me.
look at me! I knew I was going to get it wrong.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Deputy, who I like already because she shares my hatred for Tom Cruise. So yes, thank you for signing up.
You heard it here
And
first.
agreeing with
If
me.
you hate Tom Cruise, you have Emma's admiration forever, and mine, to be fair. And our last Patreon to mention is Nikita Lazelle. So hello, Nikita is my long-standing pal. I've known
was gonna say your
Nikita for years.
long-lost-
My long-lost pal. So thank you very much for signing up. Emma, shall we decide as well now if we are going to focus on the good or the bad
Yes,
of Killer
let's
Sofa?
do that.
All right, let's. Hopefully, this will get picked up by the mic. Right, what do you think? Good or
It's gonna
bad?
be good.
Going to be
I always
good?
get this wrong, so
You got it right.
I got it right.
We're going to focus on the good.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so much good in this movie as well.
I think there is. Now, as you long-term listeners will know, I am now fanning out the cards for Emma to pick the subjects we're going to focus on. So the first one is
Stunts,
stunts. Okay.
scene.
Oh, scene. Very nice.
I already know a good scene in this movie that we can talk about. Line.
Will it be good a second time?
Yeah, definitely. Props.
And the last
And
one.
the last one is death.
Oh, I'm hoping there's quite a few deaths, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
I think there are, aren't there? A few.
So I'm hoping there's a good one and a bad one. But as always, if we find any of these particular subjects lacking, we'll pull in a wild card from any of the subjects that we have not picked in this
Yeah.
episode. All right, Emma, are you ready to watch Killer Sofa?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Let's do it. Well, hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Well, we've just watched Killer Sofa for the second time in our lives. Did it disappoint the second time around?
No, we actually commented that we think we missed a lot the first time round because we were probably just chatting and we weren't taking it seriously because we weren't doing a podcast at the time.
Fair.
So
Fair.
we were probably just chatting, probably in a takeaway, not taking
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it made sense this time, if any of these films make sense.
There was so much of it where I was like, oh, so that's why this, that's why that. And
It actually, to be fair, of all the movies we've watched, this one did explain what was going on fairly well, didn't it?
it did, yeah.
So-
Yeah. If you'd asked us a year ago,
We would have said no.
absolutely not.
that
Which
was all.
does also beg the question, has every movie we've watched actually explained itself and we just haven't really paid any attention
Let's
whatsoever?
not question that.
Yeah, let's just assume. Let's just assume that everything's okay. And this feels really odd because we've just got ourselves new mics. You probably can tell by the quality of the sound.
Yes.
But it feels really odd not holding a mic.
Yeah, because they're just clipped on, aren't they? So
And
they're just
talking.
little, tiny little things.
It's
that are
very,
clipped on.
it's very, very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it feels weird talking to you, but also recording at the same time.
And we're not plugged into a laptop.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
No wires or anything.
No.
I'm
It's
modern
so professional now.
modern technology. What's that all about? So let's break down the movie and then we'll talk about our little individual scenes, our
Yes.
little bits as well. So the movie starts out. We see a guy getting his legs cut off.
Yes.
Okay, that's all we get. He's getting his legs cut off,
Yeah.
and
No
there's
explanation.
no explanation. Fine. Okay.
Sorry, that was my dog, not one of us, in case that got picked up.
I hope it did. I'm not going to. I might cut that out. I don't know. It depends. It depends how long we run. So there's this guy getting his legs cut off, and that's it. Nothing
Yeah.
more. We then cut to a woman in a red dress dancing around.
Yes. Who's our main character, Francesca?
Oh wait, do we?
Yeah.
Or is it the delivery of the?
I think we meet Francesca first.
We meet Francesca first, don't we?
And
yes,
then we get
and then
I think so, yeah.
that's right. Okay, so we meet Francesca, who's dancing away, and there's a band playing, and she's dancing, and She's good, I suppose. I really don't know.
No idea.
Yeah, but Francesca is having this sofa delivered, which it's not a sofa. It is a chair.
It's a recliner chair.
It is a recliner chair. They even call it a recliner chair all the way through the movie. And I found out
when she's dancing in the club, wherever it is, I don't know
Yeah.
where it was. Are they detectives? The police officers. They're
Yes,
there
that's right, the
because they're
detectives.
I think to make the point that she's got a bit of a stalker.
Oh yeah, of course.
So they're asking her about, and she's like, "Oh, I got a restraining order out against him." So they're asking her about this guy that's been stalking her.
Yeah, so they find they ask about Federico
Yes.
because Federico has had his feet wash up somewhere.
Oh yes, they show a picture of it, don't they?
That's right. They show a
And
picture of his feet.
So the feet have only recently been chopped off, I assume, and yeah, they have because by the end of the film, it'd only been dead.
It's only been 2 weeks. Yeah.
So these are freshly chopped off feet, and they look like they've been chopped off for about 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody said to you, draw a zombie's feet,
Yeah,
and those are the sort of feet you would draw.
it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
that
they
they
were.
would decompose that much in 2 weeks. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not
I don't know.
a medical person. I don't know how quickly, but I wouldn't have thought that quickly it would be in that much of a state.
No, I mean for them to be all kind of bluish and greeny sort of colour,
I
and
don't know.
I've got no. But
you
because
do
at
know,
that
please
point,
correct us.
because at that point he hadn't been dead for 2 weeks.
No, he hadn't. No, when
He
they
hadn't been
found
dead
his
for 2
feet,
weeks.
he wouldn't have been dead that long, would
No,
he? So
he would
don't
only
know.
been dead maybe a
Yeah.
week. Who knows? It's movie world.
But it was quite comical, the picture of the feet, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, in movie world, time does not make any sense.
No.
So I think we just have to accept that's his feet and that's it, and they are in the state they're in.
So they assume he's dead, don't they? Because they
Yes.
found parts of his body.
Yeah.
But they've only found the feet,
And
so.
everyone assumes that he must have been chopped into lots of little pieces, and
Yes.
that's Federico dead and gone. But
Is that how the police do their work? They just assume the rest of it? We found
Yeah.
the foot, just assume that person's dead, done.
Yeah.
Case solved.
that's it. What?
Don't they have to find the rest of the body?
Crikey. And the most amazing thing as well is we find out that the two detectives on the case, one is Inspector Gravy,
Yeah.
and the other one is Detective Grape,
Yes.
which is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So Inspector Gravy, Detective Grape. I just love the fact that they're named after foodstuff.
Yes.
It is so funny. So we find out that Federico had been, as you said, was a stalker
Yes.
of Francesca. There's all these FR names. I'm going to get confused. I guarantee I am. So then we cut to people actually delivering this recliner chair
Yes.
for Francesca.
But they get the wrong address at first, don't they?
Yes,
And
they take
go
it to her friend's address.
Oh, yes.
And her friend Maxie, I think.
Yes.
And Maxie's dad or grandpa
I think it's her
or
dad. Yeah, maybe.
I'm
it's
not
her-
quite sure.
They don't really explain, do they?
No, is the disgraced rabbi.
Yes.
He's no longer a rabbi, but he is very much into the occult. He touches the sofa and he goes into like a fit.
Yes, he's kind of. He touches it and he's kind of shaking and making weird noises.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
really bizarre.
this isn't at that point. It's later. He goes into a trance and he does like, ooh.
Yes. But he makes the weirdest noises and he has visions, doesn't he?
Yes.
Of some people in some woods. It's not really explained at first. He
Yeah,
has all
we
these
see
weird
some.
visions.
Yeah, his first vision is just load of disjointed sort of things, isn't it? It doesn't. Not that
Yes,
makes
doesn't
much
make any
sense.
sense.
Which is fair because they're trying to string out the mystery of
Yes.
this
And it's the beginning of
sofa.
the movie, so you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
find out quite quickly that it's a Dybbuk. A Dybbuk,
Yes.
which for those that don't know, a Dybbuk is an evil spirit. So there you go. Right?
Yes.
That usually inhabits something, but that all ties in to the end of the movie. Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously the sofa ends up getting to Francesca's because it's just dumped there, and we meet Francesca and Maxie turning up to her house, and sitting on the sofa outside is TJ, her boyfriend, and we find out that unlike most men in Francesca's life, TJ is not that obsessed with her. He's not clingy.
He's kind of the opposite, and that's what she likes about him. She says,
Yeah.
doesn't she, that he's not. I think she actually says he's not clingy. So yeah, so she's got these guys that are stalking her, and he's just a bit of a knob.
Yeah, he is a bit of a knob.
But she likes that because he's not all clingy and yeah.
Yeah, which is fair. That makes it up a little bit in your relationships. Don't, have the same thing all the time. So he takes the sofa up into the house, and there it's in the house. It's in her house, puts it in position.
So they live in an apartment, don't they? And
Yeah.
it's up a flight of stairs to get to the apartment. So but he manages to get this recliner chair, not sofa, up the flight of stairs on his own, doesn't he? Which I don't think you'd be able to do on your own.
Yeah, considering what we find out about the sofa
Yes.
later,
It would be quite heavy.
It's not. I mean, a recliner chair's got usually they're pretty heavy because they've got quite a solid sort of base and all that, and the mechanisms,
and the mechanism and stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it would be heavy. I mean, not even just the weight of it, but it's an awkward thing to grab hold of.
Yeah.
So you would need two of you, I think, to take it up. And it's a narrow flight of stairs as well. It's like between two walls, isn't it? So it's like you haven't got any room.
It's a flight of stairs between two walls.
But
No, I know.
You know, you've normally got
It's-
a banister.
Yeah,
And then
there's not a lot of room
there's
to
no room
manoeuvre.
to-
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't pivot if you get
You
caught on a
can't pivot,
corner.
No, exactly. So it just it looked like it would not be possible to do on your own.
No, I it's the sort of thing where I know for a fact if it was me looking at it, I'd be like, oh, I'll get it, I'll be no problem. But I know I'd be like halfway up, I'd be like, I need
Also,
help.
one of the things we did point out initially when we first saw this chair was, so this chair is the dirtiest, oldest looking.
Oh, it's
horrible,
horrid.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And she's a very young, woman with her own apartment. She'd want it to be trendy and nice, surely. And she's got this old which I couldn't work out. She must have ordered the chair.
Yeah, she must have.
So how did they?
Did it just? I mean, because it's not going to just be donated to her, is it?
No.
And just
So
turn
how
up.
did they make her buy that particular chair?
Well, I think I remember hearing Maxie saying something to the disgraced rabbi character. I can't remember his name at all.
I can't.
Saying something to him about how people are buying antiques to do up their houses or something. Are they trying to say this recliner chair is some sort of antique recliner chair?
Recliner chairs are antiques, are they?
No,
I mean antique recliners.
I can only imagine. Even the oldest recliner chairs are going back to what 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
If that, and that didn't look even that old.
No.
So yeah.
But also how? Yeah, I just don't know how they engineered it so that she bought that particular chair.
Yeah, I think that's
not
I
really
think that is
explained,
one of
is it?
those things where you just have to go
Accept it.
she's got a chair,
Yeah.
which seems
She got that
odd
particular
because and I know this is a little bit of a spoiler for later, but we find out that this chair was in Federico's house.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that. I mean, did we miss something? Maybe had she given it to Federico and she's gotten it back now that he's
Oh,
dead?
no idea. It didn't really.
But I don't think I heard anything like that in the film.
I don't think it explained where the chair came from, how she got hold of it. It just was being delivered to her.
Yeah.
Which she knew about. She was aware of.
Yeah,
So she'd obviously bought the chair from somewhere.
yeah.
So the chair gets delivered. The boyfriend takes it up the stairs.
Then,
But when you first see it,
oh yeah, when you first see it,
it's got a little face, hasn't it?
it does.
And
Yeah, it's got a crease in the right place for a mouth,
and two little button eyes.
two little buttonhole eyes.
And
yeah.
it reminded me of the teddy bear in the film Ted. But it's
It
just,
does.
But it's the same as Rubber. It has a character and it has expressions, and you can't explain it
does.
because it's a chair.
Yeah.
But it somehow has a personality.
I mean, I currently have Milo the dog like a
Yeah.
parrot on my shoulder at the
Let's get him
moment.
down.
He's all right at the moment. He's not in my ears or anything. But I'm absolutely full kudos to them for it because they do make the sofa a character. They do make the chair a
do.
character, and it
all-
works.
And it doesn't have expressions, but you know it's thinking.
Yeah, and you can tell when it's annoyed. You can tell when it's angry. You can tell when it's with the upcoming scene. You can tell when it's a bit horny too.
But it's also a couple of times it turns its head
Yeah,
as well. So it's looking one way, then it's looking the other, and it's just you have to watch this movie. And the same with Rubber. We talked about this in Rubber. you have to watch these movies just to understand what we're talking about, because they've somehow given this object a character.
yeah.
And I don't know how they've achieved it, but they do.
It's just the simplest thing. It's the simplest thing of just like saying, I think it's, look, we have a killer sofa. How ridiculous with it can we be without being stupid? I mean, it is stupid.
It is stupid, but
they're playing it straight, but it gives the best laughs, I think, because of that.
It's incredible what you can do with an inanimate object.
I did really like it a lot. The sofa was great. So then we have the first night of the sofa in the house. TJ
Yes.
is going out because one of his friends is getting married the
TJ's
next
her
day.
boyfriend. I don't think I
Yes,
said his name, did we?
TJ is the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's going out that night because someone's getting married the next day.
Yes.
So I don't know why they don't just say it's a stag
Yeah,
or
they don't, do
a
they?
bucks
Yeah.
party. I think, is it in New Zealand they call it a
I
bucks,
think so.
or is it
possibly.
Australia they call it a bucks? Anyway,
I'm sure we'll get
it's a stag do.
corrected if we're wrong.
Yeah. If you're from New Zealand, whatever you may call a stag do, please let us know. So he goes out, and Francesca has her first night with the sofa,
Yes.
which
It's bizarre.
is very bizarre. I mean, she gets on. I mean, I don't know if I can even bring myself to say it live on
She's
air.
in kind of a negligee kind of thing.
Is it a negligee, or is it like a sort of a red clingy sort of dress? I don't
It's
know.
like a slip, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
silky
Slip.
kind of slip.
Yes.
And then she's got like a silky dressing gown on as well. And yeah, she sits in the chair, and then you see her hands like fiddle with the reclining.
Yeah, the
button.
reclining, the levers.
And then she just lays back and she starts kind of writhing around on the chair as if she's like really enjoying it.
and stroking the arms a lot.
Stroking the material and stuff, and then the lights change to red, don't they, as well? It's
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah, the lighting changes.
I was just expecting some like music to come on as well.
A little bit of Barry White come on.
But she's just sort of writhing around the chair, and then she starts making like little moany kind of sex noises, doesn't she?
Oh yeah.
And it's just really odd. And then
It's so awkward
she
to
kind of
watch.
does that for a few minutes, and you're like, but what's the chair getting out of this?
Well, yeah, you said at one point, what is she mumbling? Because she starts like
Oh, yes,
saying
you see
something.
her lips like say something, but you don't hear it, and it's like, what's she saying? And then all of a sudden she wakes up in bed. So we don't
Yeah.
know if it's a dream or if it really happened, and that
Dream-
happens a couple of times, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. There's a few times where we have that wake up from it.
Yeah, so we're not sure if it was meant to be a dream or whether it did really happen, but then for some reason she didn't remember and blacked out or whatever and ended up in bed. I don't know.
Yeah. So the funniest thing is though, and I don't want to talk about exactly what happens now, because I want to bring this up when we talk about the scenes later.
Yes.
But when she wakes up at that point and she walks into the lounge where the sofa is, there's a
Yes.
lot of things that have been set up, and TJ, the boyfriend, comes in, and there's a whole bit of confusion about what's been set up.
Yeah.
That next morning, but I'll get into that because it was brilliant. It just made me chuckle so much, and I want to talk about that when we get to scenes. So what happens after that? We have.
Is that the next scene though? Does he come home the next morning? Is that the next
Yeah,
morning, or
that is the next
later
morning.
on?
No, that is the next morning. He
So-
comes home. They go out, don't they? Because TJ's left alone, and
Oh, is TJ left alone with the
yeah,
chair,
TJ's
or-
left alone with the chair. Did she maybe go to the police to talk about the case for Federico or something, or
I feel
something
like
like
her
that?
friend came over before that.
and took her out? But I know she leaves the house because it leaves TJ alone in the house, and the sofa attacks TJ. I can't remember why she leaves, but she goes out.
Oh no! Yes, so I can't remember when the friend comes over. The friend comes over when TJ. Yeah, so TJ is in the house on his own. He is at the oven, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, he is at the oven because there's loads of smoke when the police officers get there. So
That's right.
he's at the oven, and he sort of looks around at the sofa at one point, and it
Oh.
moves closer towards him. Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does the old weeping
And
angels thing.
He's a little bit like, okay, what's going on? And then there's like a metal hook underneath the,
Yeah,
like,
the
footrest
spring.
bit.
Yeah.
and that comes out and just digs into the back of his leg, which just looks really gruesome and
And
painful.
he gives out this
Yeah.
really
so he
high
does this
pitched
really
scream.
weird scream, and then the next thing you know, the police. How do the police know to go in there? Is she trying to get hold of him and can't, or something? I can't remember. But the police turn up, don't they? And he's in
I
the
think
bath.
he calls her
Oh, he does call her.
while she's with the police.
Yes. That's right. So she's gone to the police station to talk about Federico.
It must have been about that and something to do with the case.
Yes, and then I think that's when we see the foot, actually, when she's in the police station.
Oh, okay.
And then the boyfriend calls and they go to the house and it's all smoky because the oven's been left on, and he's in the bathtub
Yeah.
with, like, he's wrapped his leg.
Yeah, he's all
wrapped something
wounded.
tight on his leg. It turns out it's both legs that this sofa is attacked. So he goes to stay with his mum
Yes.
to recuperate, and then that's when she has the friend over. So he goes to stay with his mum, and he's like laying in bed with both his legs bandaged up.
Yep.
And then the night that he's at his mum's, Francesca has a friend over, and as she goes downstairs to say goodbye to the friend and see her into her car, the camera pans back up to the window of the
That's
house, and the sofa,
And the sofa
is looking out of the
He's
window.
looking out the window.
And it's hilarious because he's just got this really weird little face. So that was brilliant. And there's another bit where I think her friend goes home and he's on the balcony, isn't he? Like, looking out.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. It's just like he's always watching.
He's always watching.
So yeah, so she has her friend over. The sofa's looking out the window, and then
But I think he's waiting for his moment. The sofa is waiting for its moment to go after TJ.
yes,
Because I think I don't know if Francesca stays at home that night or if she goes with her friend. But
well, I don't think you see, do you?
I don't think we do. But we know that the sofa then goes, right, I'm going to go after TJ now, and that dog, up and down to the back
We
door.
don't know what this dog's doing. So is that then the next thing is the sofa
Kills TJ.
finding TJ?
Yeah, the sofa goes after TJ, which is an amazing scene because TJ gets like freaked out by something.
Let's just like
Do you want me to put a pin in that?
skim over it.
I'll put a pin in that.
So the sofa goes after
Sofa kills TJ.
TJ, but we are going to talk about that scene because it's quite
Okay.
a good scene.
Okay, we'll go into depth about that one.
So yeah, so that's the next thing that happens. He gets killed, but then so he gets killed that evening.
Yes.
His mum doesn't realise he's been killed till the next morning,
That's right. Yeah.
and then she goes to the police station and she's with that's Milo sniffing at the mic. She goes to the police station and Francesca gets called into the police station to let her know that he's died.
Yep.
And then is the next thing we see is it when Ralph turns up at her door after TJ's died. Ralph turns up at the door, doesn't he? And Ralph
Yeah,
again
because-
is obsessed with her.
Yeah, because Francesca doesn't know that TJ is dead at this point.
Oh, he tells her, doesn't he?
Well, no, he knows that TJ was attacked, but
Oh, he doesn't know
not
he's
dead
dead.
at that point.
Oh, yes. So sorry. So
Yeah.
he turns up at the door. So this guy called Ralph, who is her friend's cousin,
Yes.
he turns up at her door and says something about it being awful what happened to TJ, but yeah, he must be talking about him being attacked rather than him being dead.
Yeah.
And then the next thing she's
Yeah. Then the next thing is we find out that
she
that's
goes to-
when.
She goes to the police station and he goes into her house, doesn't he?
Yes.
He puts his arm through the letterbox, and there's no way on earth he could reach the lock, but somehow he does go gadget arm and reaches the lock, and he's in the apartment.
Yeah.
and, then
And
we
it's
see him
while-
snooping around the apartment.
Yeah, so he's sniffing around the apartment, and I want to talk about when he's
Yeah,
sniffing around the
definitely,
apartment. So
100%.
we'll go into that. But so it's while he's sniffing around the apartment that she
She's at the police
finds
station.
out that TJ
Yeah,
is
with
dead
his mum,
with
and
his
they're both
mum.
there crying,
and that,
yeah.
and they are asked out of a list of all of the men that she has had restraining orders against in the past, who is the likeliest to have killed anyone,
Yes.
or who's weird enough to have done it, and they all say Ralphie. Ralph, who is Maxie's, her friend's cousin. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But Ralph isn't long for the world, is he?
He's not, but
No.
he kind of deserves what
Yeah.
he gets after what he does.
He very much deserves.
So Ralph comes to an end.
Yeah, Ralph comes to
And
an end.
then, I can't remember the order in my head of who is it that goes into the house and finds Ralph? Is it the police officers again?
No, it's
it her
her friend
friend?
Maxie.
It's her
She
friend, it is
goes.
her friend.
Yeah, so they decide that they're going to stay, both of them, at Maxie's place.
Yes.
And Francesca stays there. But she says to Maxie a very specific line that I'm not going to say. So
Yes.
Maxie goes to Francesca's house to check up on things.
Yes.
And she sees Ralph's dead body on the balcony,
Yes.
being dragged away, and she goes out to the balcony, and honestly, it's the funniest thing. The leg stand comes up from the sofa to lift Ralph into a seated position, and then it cuts away to Maxie watching, and then then it cuts back to the sofa, and the sofa's got like Ralph on top of him, and is like getting up to throw him all over the side.
Yeah, which is just completely pointless because he's dead. Like, why does he need to throw him off the balcony?
I know, he throws him off the balcony into a kind of tip area. And somehow later we see Ralphie's dead body. Ralph, I don't know why I'm calling him Ralphie.
I don't know, you've got a bit affectionate with him there.
Yeah, I have. It's like I've given him a little pet name. Hey, Ralphie. We see Ralph later in the movie all covered in blue tarpaulin as well. So it's like,
Yeah.
when did the sofa do that?
And one important thing that we need for later on is when Ralph sneaks into the apartment, he sneaks in there to put a camera in there so he
Yeah.
can watch her. So that becomes important later on.
It does come very important.
So yeah, that's what he's up to. So he's I think he puts a camera in the smoke alarm casing.
Yeah.
And then hooks up to her Wi-Fi, and then he's got it on his phone. He can watch her on his phone, but although he can't because
Sicko.
it comes to an end.
Yeah, it comes to a very grisly end quite quick.
So yeah, so that's why he went in. He broke into her apartment, was to put a camera in there.
Many.
So then the friend is obviously petrified. So she
Yes.
runs into the bathroom. She drops her keys on the floor.
Jobs, yeah, very
runs
important
into the
point.
bathroom, and then she's got no option really because the sofa's coming after her, and we know what this sofa's capable of. So she ends up at the window in the bathroom, and she's looking down, and it's the recycling bin,
Yeah.
and like directly below her, and it's full of glass bottles, and you just kind of see her jump out, but then you don't see anything else.
Well, I think she slips, doesn't she? Or she's
okay.
trying to lower herself or climb around, but we're watching through a screw hole in the toilet door from the sofa's perspective,
Sofa.
and we see her slip, and we hear the clatter of glass as she clearly falls into the recycling bin, and then it cuts to the lid of the bin
Just closing on.
just
her.
closing on her, and we think, well, that's her dead. That's
Yeah.
Maxie dead, clearly.
Yes.
Or is it?
You don't. Yeah, you
We don't know.
find out any more about her.
That's it.
That's it. You just
No more.
The lid closes and you just think, oh, is she just another? Like she just another
Just another
death?
victim. Just another victim.
Yeah.
So we then have. So there's been all this stuff going on where we have a lot of investigation going on by the rabbi and the voodoo priestess. Well, I mean, really. I mean, we only find out she's a voodoo priestess because at one point she cracks an egg and shakes a maracas at something. Yeah, there's nothing really else going on there.
So the rabbi is watching loads of YouTube videos. I'll show you
Yeah,
YouTube.
he's doing a lot of investigation at Dybbuk boxes and the
Yes.
behaviours of them and how
evil
to
spirits and
fight them, etc. We also see that he has another vision where he goes back into the past and he sees a woman. He sees like a flower in a cup that he deciphers as somebody has been. She was used it to poison someone.
yes,
Then, in this vision, she takes a knife off of a local girl and slices her own throat
yes,
and dies. And then that's where the vision ends.
yeah,
So, this is one point where it's like they're they're sort of drip feeding information. They're not giving everything away, and they're drip feeding information, and then there's like a payoff at the end for all of this. Because I remember the first time watching it thinking, what even was the point of that?
Yeah, we definitely did do that the first time.
But they did pay it off.
But it was
I'll give them that.
Explanation for what happens. We just didn't realise it the first time when we were chatting through it and not watching it properly because we weren't professional back then.
No, we
were
definitely weren't professional. Definitely weren't professional. But then it becomes a case like, look, Francesca starts to get really worried about Maxie because Maxie hasn't come back.
Does she even try to call her or anything? I guess she does. No, but she doesn't answer,
I don't think she ever calls her friends.
I don't think she does.
Or once she does, in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah.
But that's when she goes to stay with Maxie the first time. So she's worried about Maxie. So she calls Inspector Gravy, and Inspector Gravy says, "We'll come with you," and they go.
Oh yeah, she says she went back to the house.
Yeah.
And that was 2 hours ago.
That's right.
So they go with her to just check it out.
Yeah, and they don't find anything, do they?
They find her keys on the floor.
They find her keys on the floor, Maxie's keys.
And they call her, and they hear it ringing outside, but her battery goes dead.
Oh, and that's when they go outside and they find Ralph. They find Ralph.
Yeah.
So when I said they don't find anything, I missed the fact that they find a clue that Maxie was there with the car keys and also a dead body. So I would be a dreadful detective.
But they don't find her at that point, do they?
No, they stop at Ralph.
Oh, and also, we said about the foot, but Ralph has been dead about a few hours.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's been dead for a good couple of months as well, doesn't he?
Oh, it's hilarious. He is serious corpse.
Yeah, it's like, after a few hours, does the body look that bad? Surely not after a few hours.
If you saw a body looking that bad, right, would you still bother going up and feeling for its pulse, or you would just be like, yeah, they ain't alive?
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious as well, because he looked... you look at him and go, that's a dead body. You don't need to be a medical expert to know that.
Absolutely.
And the guy checks his pulse. And I was like, look, I know that's a dead body and I'm not medical at all.
That ain't happening. That's not right. So, yeah. So they find dead Ralph. And, yeah, I think obviously she can't stay there anymore. So she'll go to Maxie's. And that's when... I know I'm cutting a lot out here, but a few things happen here. They find the prints of someone in Frederico's house, and the police pull in the guy who cut his legs off, and they interrogate him to find out stuff about it. They then also, and I'm really cutting into this because there's a lot of little bits that happen, but the gist of it is this. Francesca talks to the rabbi who comes up with a plan to
capture the spirit.
And obviously the detectives are talking to this guy who's like, yeah, I cut off his legs, etc. Why? He's into weird stuff, blah, blah, blah. Francesca then, so they have this plan to get rid of the Dybbuk boxes, to get rid of the evil spirit. Francesca goes back to the chair, confronts it. The detectives are turning up because they find out that this guy cut off Frederico's legs so that he could fit inside a sofa.
Yeah.
And that's the big reveal. Or one of the big reveals.
That's one of them. We should also say that, are they detective? Is it Detective Gravy?
Inspector Gravy, I think.
So Inspector Gravy is also getting obsessed with Francesca.
Oh yes, he's obsessed with Francesca as it goes.
So you see him at one point doing press ups with her picture on his laptop and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
But he's slowly getting obsessed with her as well, which makes sense at the end because there's a scene at the end where they're on like a date, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, and that's where the flower tea comes into, because in one of the visions he saw. Yeah,
the old rabbi saw a flower in a cup, which was poison, a poisonous flower used to poison someone in a tea. But it also all boils down to this. So Frederico was obsessed with Francesca because, and this is the real kicker,
Yeah.
The woman in the past who killed herself in front of Francesca's great-grandmother, okay? Or great-great-grandmother, something like that. Now, the woman that killed herself was a practicing witch. Her and her husband, Gerard. Gerard was dead, okay? And inhabited something, okay? But, and this is so difficult to explain, but the woman, Valerie, her name was Valerie, she'd killed herself and haunted the great-grandmother. And that passed down to Francesca. But Valerie's spirit made men obsessive. So, everybody was getting obsessive of Francesca, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were getting obsessive of Francesca because of the spirit of Valerie.
Yes.
Right. Now also, and this is where I struggle, Federico was in the sofa,
He was.
but the sofa had in it the spirit of Gerard.
I think so.
Or
Was it the spirit of Valerie?
or was the spirit of Gerard in Federico?
I think the sofa was the spirit of Valerie. There's a point where Francesca's at a friend's house and the sofa is at the sink and she's at the sink, and out of the sink she hears whispering Valerie. And so I just assumed it was the spirit of Valerie, but maybe it is Gerard and he's saying Valerie.
I think it's Gerard either in the sofa or in Federico. Or was it maybe one of the occult things that Federico had was a Dybbuk box, and that's how he got infected with the spirit of Gerard, and that's why he had his legs cut off and put into the sofa and then sent to Francesca because she had the spirit of Valerie in her.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But I know certainly this makes far more sense now than it did when we first watched the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it does. But yeah, it ultimately turns out that Federico is in the sofa, and that's what we think so far.
All we know is that he's in the sofa.
Yeah,
We assume
yeah.
alive and well.
And Francesca is trying to get this. She doesn't know Federico's in the sofa at this point, but she's trying to get the spirit out of the sofa into this Dybbuk box so that they can destroy it and burn it, therefore getting rid of the evil spirit. But then the sofa stands up, and comes towards her because the sofa said, and she's like, "Get out! Put your spirit in. Get in the box. Get in the box." And the sofa
She
says,
thinks it's as easy as that, doesn't she?
"Yeah." The sofa like literally goes, "No."
Yeah, he actually
No.
does. But what we were laughing at as well was when the sofa did talk, the mouth moved.
Yeah, the
And
seam
we were thinking, but there's a
moved.
guy in there. Surely it's him talking. But yeah, that gets explained later on.
That does get explained.
Well, it doesn't get explained why the sofa's mouth moves, but it gets explained that,
Yeah.
we thought it was the guy talking in the sofa and it wasn't.
So and it was all very strange. Yeah,
So what she does is she gets the box, she slides it towards the sofa, says "Get in,"
Like a Ghostbuster.
yeah. And I was like, if it was that easy, come on,
Yeah.
like there'd be no evil spirits anywhere, would there?
that's it.
And we know from the movies there is quite a few.
Yeah,
So she does that, but in the meantime, she's pouring like petrol, is it?
yeah, petrol. Yes,
Over the sofa. I think she gets some on herself as well, but she's pouring it over the sofa, and then she gets the matches out, doesn't she, to try and light them?
yes,
set
and
in
it
the
doesn't
light.
work. And I want to talk about that later.
Yeah, oh, yeah, 100%.
She keeps pulling out these matches, and for some reason that we'll go into, she just can't seem to light the petrol on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's their big plan, isn't it? The rabbi's big plan is get it in a box, set light to it, and then
That'll get rid of the evil spirits. And at the last moment, so the sofa comes in and it's like it
Yes.
stands up and goes to like basically stop Francesca himself, but Inspector Gravy comes in with his gun and shoots the sofa because we found out that it's Federico inside the sofa. So everyone thinks Federico is controlling the sofa.
And he's alive, and we'll shoot him, and he'll
And
die, and then...
Yep, and that's it. They come in, they shoot him. The sort of the fascia comes off the sofa, and there we see like a really mangled Federico inside.
It's like they've cut his face off as well.
Yeah.
There's no face, it's just like...
Face.
And I was like, but
off.
surely he would have bled to death because they've like cut his face off, they've cut his legs off. This is not a doctor doing this either. This
No.
is just a guy with a sword.
The guy was a vet. He was a vet. He was a vet.
Oh, he was a vet.
He was a vet.
But
Yeah.
still, like, I don't know why the face wasn't. It just didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. But then, then we find out that actually this Dybbuk likes to use corpses.
Yes. So we
his
find
evil
out
ways.
that the coroner calls up Detective Grape.
Oh, yes.
It says, "Oh, you've got the wrong date of death on this report." And she goes, "What are you talking about? It was 2 days ago.
she's like,
I was there when it happened."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No. This body was dead
At
for
least
2 weeks."
Yeah, at least 2 weeks ago.
And that's when the penny drops that it was Gerard controlling Federico's body,
Yeah.
controlling the sofa. But it's all too late because Inspector Gravy is on a date with Francesca / this Valerie woman who's taken her over, and he's drinking a
flower.
very special flowery tea.
She's actually pouring it out of a flower pot.
Yeah,
as well.
I
She's got
know.
like a pot with a flower in it, and she's pouring it out of there. And he's like, "Oh, it's an interesting taste, but it's quite nice."
Yeah.
And so she's basically poisoning him.
And
And
then,
then-
the inspector dies, and the soul of Gerard passes from the sofa, because apparently, if the corpse host for the Dybbuk dies, it will go into the next receptacle, which was the sofa, and then the sofa transfers the spirit into the detective. The detective gets up, and him and Valerie / Francesca walk off into the night.
It's not the most realistic storyline.
No. But then, do you ever watch like a movie called Killer Sofa for the realistic story?
No.
I don't think you can.
So,
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that?
That's
Yeah.
that's it. That's the movie. So shall we? I mean, that's the synopsis. That's the movie. I'm not gonna lie. There are a couple of these things like stunts. I didn't really come up with anything with. Did you have anything
There's
for
a couple of
stunts?
stunts, yeah.
Oh, did
well,
you?
One of them, it might not be a stunt, but I'm using it as a stunt.
Oh, okay, go
because
on.
It was thin.
Well, we'll start with that then.
So we're doing with good,
Well,
aren't
good.
we?
Yeah, we're looking at the good stuff.
So, so I thought if we can class it as a stunt, I don't know, but when she is trying to light the match to set the sofa on fire,
Oh, okay.
the sofa stands up and blows every single match out that she tries to light. Every time she lights one, and I think at one point she goes, "Oh!" Like she gets really frustrated with it.
When the movie has so few stunts.
Yeah, that counts as a
That
stunt.
counts as it.
But I just had to talk about that because it was so funny. But it was literally like kids, like kids do things to annoy you constantly.
Yeah.
The more you get aggravated, the more they think it's funny and do it. It was like that. It was just like
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. I mean, literally light it up and you see the mouth form.
yeah.
And like,
See him blow it out every time. So that's why she can't light the match. Did you have anything for stunts?
I didn't, but I read something in the trivia on IMDb that they
Yeah.
only had one sofa for the whole movie. They
Oh,
didn't have a
okay.
backup or anything.
Didn't have a
And
study sofa.
One of the scenes that was never filmed but was planned was that the sofa jumps out of the apartment to land on someone in a car to crush them to death.
Okay.
So that would have been a stunt. That would have been a great
Yeah.
stunt. But they cut it out because they couldn't risk damaging the sofa.
Oh, okay.
And there was supposed to be another bit where the sofa was like vomiting like a blood substance.
Yeah.
But again, they didn't want to damage the material in case they had to do any
Yeah.
reshoots or anything.
So I guess the only other thing you could, or one of the other things you could call a stunt, is when the sofa's throwing the body over the balcony.
And we were kind of hoping as well that when Maxie fell out the window that would be a stunt. But you don't see a fall, you don't see anything happen, you just see the hand released and you hear the noise. So that's not even a stunt either. But you know what? Stuff it. I'm not even gonna. I said I'm gonna be nice to you from now for a while.
Yeah, that didn't last long, then, did it?
I'm going to accept.
2 hours ago.
I'm going to accept that The blowing out of the candle was a stunt.
Okay, thank
I'm going to
you.
accept it.
Only
I'll
because
give
we're
you that
very
one.
light on stunts.
Yeah, we're very, very light on stunts. But I don't have any stunt otherwise. But I would have
Okay.
loved to have seen the sofa jump and land on someone in a car to crush them.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
That would have been so good.
They could have.
so
They
good.
could have filmed the whole thing, and know they've got it in the bag.
Yeah.
And then they could have filmed that very last,
Yeah.
couldn't they?
Well, it's like another famous New Zealand filmmaker, Peter Jackson, when he made Lord of the Rings, right? There was a
Yeah.
scene that he filmed after it was all completed that
Yeah.
only went into I'm normally quite good with Lord of the Rings trivia, but there was a scene that he filmed for, I think it was the very last one, Return of the King, that he added in after the film was done and would only ever get onto the extended edition because he just thought
Yeah.
it would be funny having filming a scene for a movie that had already won Oscars. So
Yeah.
he just shot a new scene. I can't even remember what it was. Maybe, but why couldn't they have just done that? Let's have the director's cut of Killer Sofa.
Or just not even when the movie's out there, just if you know you've got every take in the bag, and you don't need that sofa anymore, then just shoot it the last thing you shoot is that,
Yeah,
and stick it in there.
absolutely. So stunts are pretty
it was
thin on the
pretty
ground.
light on
Pretty light
stunts.
on the ground.
Luckily, we've got a lot of other things.
Yeah, there are quite a few other ones we're
Yeah.
definitely going to talk about. All right, another quite light one, props. Shall we do props?
Yeah.
Not a lot on that one. So for me, I think my favourite prop, and I don't know if you'll agree with this one, was the eye in the Hoover.
Yeah, that's what I've got down.
Yeah? Oh, magic. So this is TJ's death.
Yeah, so we said TJ dies the evening, but his mum
Yes.
doesn't realise till the next morning.
When
And the reason
she's
she
when
realises.
she's doing the cleaning.
Yeah, so she's hoovering, isn't she?
Yeah.
She knocks on his door and says, TJ, I need to come in and hoover.
Yeah, and she
No answer.
Yeah, there's no answer. So she opens the door and puts the Hoover in, but something distracts her, and she.
Doesn't it come out of the wall? The
Oh,
plug
that's
comes
right.
out.
The plug comes out the wall, so
But she sort of opens the door and doesn't even look in. Just
yeah, she just sticks the Hoover in. So it's hoovering away at something, and we see it pulling up all this gore and filth into the
flesh
Hoover.
and blood and
Yeah.
it's pretty gross.
And yeah, so then by the time she comes back to the Hoover and sees it, like there's this eye just staring out of the
Eyeball in
Hoover.
And it just we both.
And
laugh at
the
that.
funniest thing as well is, right, later when the police show, they show Francesca the picture of TJ's face
Yeah, they do, don't they?
because he wrote two letters on his face,
Oh,
F and
yes.
R, which I think the police thought was to be a message to
Yeah, it was like a clue,
Francesca,
so-
but it was a clue to say that it was Federico.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, but they show this picture of his cheek with this F and R carved into it, but the Hoover nozzle is still over his face. Right over where his eye would have been, and that was
eyeball in the Hoover's definitely the best.
that was good.
best
The eyeball in the Hoover, very, very good. Even like the gore going around, because I think what it was, the Hoover was put on his face, sucked out his eye and his brains,
Oh, it was just
is what
so
it was, and that was good.
funny. Also, though, just a little mention.
Oh, go on.
Of the so there's a point where Francesca is Francesca with the police officers, or is it just the police officers? I can't remember. But Inspector Gravy opens a file called Clues on his computer, and there's like all kinds of bits and pieces in there to try and help them out with who's done this, and there's a voodoo doll of Francesca, which is quite funny because it's just like a cut out picture of her face, isn't it, stuck onto it?
Yep.
And then just this little voodoo doll with like love hearts and stuff on it. It's just
Yeah. Have you seen that filter on TikTok at the moment? This will really date this because this will be long gone. But it's like a filter on TikTok where like you've got like a little gingerbread man cut out, and you can put like the face on something,
no, I've not
and
seen
then it will create a little dancing character with that face on it.
Yeah.
And that's what the voodoo doll looked like, with like this little face on it. It was quite funny. It instantly made me think of
Anyway,
that tonight.
TikTok's not going anywhere.
No. I mean
Oh,
the trend. The trend.
I
The
thought you
filter will
were
be
talking
long
about the hearing
gone.
for the American.
Oh,
Pie getting
yeah, the
banned.
American. Yeah, well, definitely dating us now.
Have you seen any of that?
Oh, the footage is hilarious.
Have you?
Does TikTok connect to the Wi-Fi?
Did you hear the aeroplane one?
No, what was the airplane
If
one?
I've got my phone on aeroplane mode and I'm in an aeroplane, can TikTok talk to the aeroplane? Like
No.
seriously, these are serious questions.
Is that
There's
a real one?
There's a comedian on TikTok absolutely ripping the piss out of this hearing, and it's hilarious. I'll have to send you some of his videos later.
Oh, yeah,
he's
please
done
do.
loads because everyone keeps going, please do more, because he's just like, oh, it's so funny. I'll show you after we've
I
recorded.
love it so
But yeah,
much.
I hope TikTok's not going to go anywhere because it is amusing, and I don't
Yeah,
want it to.
I mean, is there any alternatives?
No.
Because eventually we're gonna, if I get my arse in gear, I might actually start doing some TikTok stuff at some point.
Oh, that's the thing as well. At one point, one of them calls it Tic Tac.
Tic Tac.
It's like you don't even know what it's called. They're all like old men. They don't know what they're talking about. They've got a
It's
clue about
brilliant,
technology.
isn't it?
And the CEO of TikTok,
Yeah.
they just like when they ask these ridiculous questions, he just kind of looks at them like, "Are you serious? Like, what are you talking about?"
I don't know if I could be so patient. That's why I'm not the
Does it need to
CEO of
connect to the
anything.
internet? They was like, does it get on your home Wi-Fi? Well, yeah. If you're at home and you
Can it-
connected it to the Wi-Fi, and they're asking a question. And he's not. The CEO is like, what? I don't really understand what you're asking me. He's
Yeah.
like, if you mean, yeah, it needs internet access, yeah.
Yeah.
If that's what you mean.
Well, they said something to him about being from China. He was like, Congressman, I'm Singaporean. It's like they don't even know basics about the people that
I
that
know.
they're interviewing,
It's ridiculous.
questioning, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so funny. But
it was
anyway, that
brilliant.
will date this because
that will date this. Although to be fair, that hearing happened quite some time ago. We just have very good memories.
Right,
Had
so
we
that was
finished props?
props.
Yeah, I
After
think
we
we finished
finished
props. By the way, you mentioned in that, I'm not going to say what it was, but you mentioned my worst prop for the flip side.
did I?
On there, yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
But obviously, we'll get into that on the flip side.
Oh,
all right.
obviously got a different one then for bad.
Yeah. Woo. Right, deaths. Shall we do deaths?
Yes, although no, I have got a good and a bad.
Oh, okay. I've got a
So-
bad death. I don't know if I particularly have a
Oh,
good
you've not
death.
got a good one.
I think my good death might by default end up being TJ because of the eyeball thing.
No, not because of the eyeball. My one's TJ because
Oh,
so the sofa gets him like the hooks in the back of his leg, and then so he doesn't obviously die from that.
Yeah.
He just gets his legs bandaged up and he goes to his mum's to recover. But while he's at his mum's, the sofa, his actual death is the sofa tapping on the bathroom window with his spring.
oh yeah.
The sofas. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a big spring that comes up. So this bathroom is like a story up because they're all of these houses are built. They're kind of on stilts, aren't they? They've got like a staircase to go up to them.
Yes, yeah.
So so this bathroom is first floor, isn't it?
yeah.
It's like one story up. So and then this spring just like taps on the window while he's in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And he looks out the window and he looks down into the street and the sofa's just looking up at him and it's there. It's like, I don't know how this sofa moves around. I guess it's just, possessed by an evil spirit so it can do what it wants. So, but the springs must be so long because it's come up like to the first floor.
It's like 10, 15 feet up in the air.
Yeah, so it taps on the window and then it kills him with the springs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's my favourite one just
Oh,
because...
because you do have a really great shot of the spring above TJ's face,
Yes.
looking down through the spring. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
But it's just the fact that the sofa taps on the window and
Yeah.
he looks down into the street and the sofa's
And the sofa's looking up at him like
So that was
really
the best
quizzically.
one for me. That was...
Okay.
And the
yes.
eyeball just topped it off later on. That was just...
Yeah, that was the
It was the most entertaining.
that was
bit.
the cherry on the
Yeah.
cake. The eyeball. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I think I have to agree with you on that one. And by the way, her friend Maxie isn't dead. Because
Oh,
I think
she
that
isn't dead.
she didn't die. She comes back at the end of the film and she's got like a massive bit of glass stuck in her forehead.
Like, huge. Like I could
Absolutely
say
huge.
she probably would have bled to death. 'Cause
Yeah.
She was in there for a couple of days, was she, or a day?
I think she was there for a day.
Okay.
I think.
So she's just sat there for a day, and she just decided. Oh, when they shot the sofa, she decided to come out of the bin.
Yes,
when it
that's
was?
when she came out of the bin, when all the police were there and all that, and
Yeah.
emergency services, etc. And if she had died, I think that might have been my favourite death, because she wasn't directly killed by the sofa. It was like death by misadventure. And I think, like, in terms of like hilarity, you know, she thinks she's escaped. You know, she thinks she's safe, but then she just falls to her death into a bin, and the way that the bin closed over her. But she didn't die, so she's not my best death. That might be my
Am
only
I
other
making this
choice.
bit up, or do they, when she comes out of the bin with that massive shard of glass in her head, sticking out of her forehead, does one of them say, "You
Oh.
okay?" Or did I make that up?
No, they did say that. They did say that. I think I put that
It's
down.
like, do I look okay? I've got a massive piece of glass sticking out my head.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, they do say that. They literally, yeah, it's Inspector Gravy goes, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah," and then they don't do anything about it. They just,
They
"Oh, okay."
literally don't. They don't like.
They don't even
if
get
I saw
someone to look at
somebody
her.
with a massive piece of glass like that sticking out of their head, I'd be like, "We need to get you to the hospital."
Yeah, we
Like,
need to
pretty
get you seen to.
quickly. But she's just wandering
Just
around.
shrugs it off.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Maxie's hardcore. Maxie's hardcore.
She is.
Yeah.
She could still have that piece of glass in there to this day. We don't know.
Makes it very difficult to wear hats. Okay, so I mean, yeah, there were quite a few deaths,
Yeah.
but I'd say that was the TJ. I think yes,
That was the best one.
I think that was the best
That
one for the
kept-
build up
That
to
was
it.
the one that kept on giving.
It
Because he had
did.
the hooks in the back of the leg, and he was like, "Oh no, but he hasn't killed him. He's got away." Then you had the spring at the window. Then you also had the eyeball being hoovered up.
Yeah.
So I think it was.
Yeah,
That was a good, prolonged.
that's it. Right, okie dokie. So let's talk about. Where am I looking now? Oh, should we talk about lines?
Yep.
Have you got some good lines?
I've got a couple that I think were good,
Okay.
and I've got one bad one.
Oh, nice. See, yeah, I've got two good ones.
Okay.
I wonder if we've got the same ones. So I can't remember where this comes right, but Detective Grape at one point turns to Inspector Gravy and says, "This is bad gravy."
Yeah.
This is bad
that's
gravy.
one of the ones I had.
It was just like, what? I think that was quite close to the end.
Yes, it was.
You know,
I
this
don't
is
know
bad
why we find
gravy.
it so amusing that their names were Gravy and Grape, but it was just like, of all the names, like,
Why would you
couldn't
choose
take
that?
it seriously, could you?
No, you couldn't. Gravy and grape.
But I think we've had some. I think we have had some other like amusing names in the other films we've watched, but I think they do it deliberately to
Yeah. And
just for a laugh, don't
this
they?
film didn't strike me. I mean, you're making a film about a killer sofa. It's got to be a little tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
But none of the other characters had funny names. But they made the two detectives very straight. Be called Gravy and Grape, and nobody bat an eyelid at it.
yeah.
Is Gravy and Grape popular surnames in New Zealand?
I wouldn't have particularly.
I
Thought
don't
so.
think
I
so.
don't know.
But yeah, this is bad gravy. So you had that as well.
I had that one,
All right, what was your other one?
and then I also liked it when the detective or Inspector Gravy was questioning the guy who chopped
Oh,
Federico's legs
this
off.
I've got that down as well.
Okay, and he was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Did you kill him?" And he said, "No, I chopped his legs off." And he was like, "He asked me to," as if like I didn't kill him. I just chopped his legs off. It's like what? He just said it, so he just came straight out of it. Didn't like hold it back. And then he was saying he'd got a note from him to say it was okay.
I got him to sign a contract so that if anything bad came from it, I'd be absolved of any
Yeah,
fault. What?
honestly. It reminded me a bit of. Did you hear that story about the guy that was a cannibal and he was looking for somebody to kill and eat?
Oh, and he,
Did you remember that story?
and he
And
got
he
the
got
contract for it.
Someone actually signed up to do it.
Yeah,
Someone
that's
actually
right.
said, "Yes, I'll happily come over and let you kill me and eat me." Not even kill him. He started
Just
eating his
eat
body
part of
with
him. Yeah, that's
He
right.
started eating part of his own body with him, and then he killed him. And yeah, someone actually agreed to it.
Crazy.
It reminded me of that a little bit because it's like,
Do you know what?
okay,
Right?
Does
you
that
know,
hold up in court?
I don't
He signed
know.
a piece of paper to say I could kill him and eat him. Does that? Surely that's not.
But you know what, right? If I was like 90 years old, 100 years old or something, and I'd be like, I'm done with life. I've lived long enough. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's how I'd want to go.
isn't.
Well, I mean,
What, somebody killing you and eating you?
well, what's the alternative? You know, give my body to medical science?
Wow, that'd be nicer
well,
for your family to deal with than he got eaten by a cannibal.
How about, right, okay. So take all my organs and donate those away. Donate everything that can be donated away. But, like, you know, that little bit of haunch on my butt, you know, that's good prime meat. That's rump steak. That could feed a family of 4 for a week.
But do you want it to?
Well, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to mind at the time, am I?
Well, no, but like I say, you've got 4 children that might struggle with that image of somebody eating your body.
Yeah, but they'll be if I'm 90 to 100, my kids will be in their 70s.
Yeah.
They won't care by then.
Do you think?
I'll tell you what, I'll treat them really poorly so they don't care by then. How about that? Yeah. Okay, fine. Maybe I won't let someone kill me and eat me.
Just, you know, be
I'll
very
think about it a bit.
well-rated.
I'll think about it a bit longer before I make
There's
any decisions.
alternatives, yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll think about
That
it.
was all I had for lines.
Yeah, same here. Was exactly that. I mean, don't get me wrong. This film has got a lot of good lines in it, actually, but those 2 were absolute standouts. This is bad gravy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that tickled me. Right. What have we not talked about?
Scene.
Is that the only one? Is that the last one?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So I've got a couple of good scenes. What about you?
Have you? I think I only got one good one and a couple of bad ones.
Oh, really? I've only... Oh, how funny. I've got a couple of good ones and only one bad one.
Oh.
Look at that. So go on. What's your good one then?
Well, I think my good one is probably... I just like it when the sofa looks out the window. When her friend goes, and then the camera just pans up, and it's just brilliant because this sofa's just looking out the window at them. But again, it's just literally the sofa's face at the window, but you just kind of know what it's thinking.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
do.
like, that's an evil, stalky sofa. That's not. That's not
absolutely do.
That's not a waving out like.
Oh, sorry.
It's not like when I go and see my nan. When I leave, she gets up at the living room window and she gives me a wave as I walk down the path.
Yeah.
It's not a nice little thing like that. It was evil. Stalking you. I'm going to kill you. Evil, kind of looking out the window.
Oh yeah. I am watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably not one scene really, because it's like when he does it when her friend leaves, and then he does it on the balcony at one point, and then he's down on the pavement when TJ's going to be killed. It's just that. It's him like. Yeah, it's him looking out the window or looking up from the pavement and just looking at the people.
That's definitely allowed, is multiple scenes where all that's happening. That is absolutely allowed, because you're right. It's one of the things we absolutely loved about Rubber, and they do it so well here.
I feel like we should have thought about this before, which, you know, planned ahead, which we're not very good at.
Whoa. Steady now.
With this category... I feel like we should be scoring points judged on like how much character the inanimate object's got.
Okay.
So we said with Rubber, that didn't even have a face.
No face.
They somehow got that, gave that Tara personality. And the same with Killer Sofa. The sofa has got a character, and I don't know how, but it has got a face this time, but it's just got a character. And I think we should be bearing that in mind when we score these ones.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that as well, pardon the pun, right? Think about Attack of Killer Tomatoes.
Yes.
Those tomatoes spoke or had a language, but there was nothing going for them.
That was literally just a tomato. That was they hadn't tried to give it any sort of character or personality.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Whereas Rubber and Killer Sofa, 100% they've got characters.
Yeah.
And Rubber was even more impressive because it didn't have a face or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of this series, we can...
Oh, we could do a little...
summary of
we could do
our favourite character.
I like that idea. I like that very much. We'll do a special little 5-10 minute.
Yeah, and we just talk about their characters and their personalities.
Yeah, a very special little episode that we'll just release normally and just talk about, just like a little special episode at the end of the season.
I think
I like that a lot, because I know there's an upcoming thing for one of our seasons, which I won't give away.
No.
That we could also do that with.
Oh, okay.
Where we pit the different kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was all very cryptic, listener. But just know good things are coming. Good things are coming.
We know that you like it when we plan
Yeah, we're having a meeting.
things in the middle of the podcast.
This could have been a message.
I'm sure we've done this before. We've had a meeting in the middle of the podcast before.
Yeah.
But you know, we're keeping you in the loop.
Yeah, we keep you.
Hot off the press.
But do know that this episode is being released a little bit of time after it's recorded. So if you want to give us any feedback on any of that meeting we just had,
It's probably a bit too late.
it may be a bit too late, but we'd appreciate it anyway.
Which is why you're not getting your shout outs until about 6 months after.
Yeah. Oh no, it's 2 months. It's been 2 months. 2 months. 2 months, and we do only release fortnightly. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's
there's Anyway,
So what did you have for scene?
All right, so for me, it was the morning after the night before. So this is the morning after Francesca's had a little bit of sexy time with the sofa.
Yes.
All right, she's done the gyrating away on the lazy boy, but she wakes up. Obviously, like she jerks awake, and we wonder, was it a dream? Was it not a dream?
Yeah.
And she walks out of her bedroom, and there are candles. There's a candle on the floor. And in fact,
Oh, yes.
there's a row of candles leading to the sofa.
Yep.
And the sofa, again, with its face and its arms, has got a plate of cookies on one side and
Plate of chocolates, isn't
a
it?
plate and some chocolates on the other side.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it looks like the sofa's holding them out to her.
Yeah. It's not your typical breakfast, is it?
No, it's not. And it did make me chuckle. It's like, oh, babe, I'm sorry, thanks so much for last night. I'm sorry I didn't wake up for you, but I got up and made breakfast, and that's
Yeah.
why, whatever, And as she's like looking at what's going on, TJ walks in, clearly from his night out before.
Yeah, and he said about how drunk
Yeah.
didn't realise how drunk he was or something, doesn't he?
But of course, what's the alternative to thinking, did the sofa do this?
But this is what didn't make sense. So unless she thought he'd done it and then gone back out, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's literally just walked in the door after she sees it all, so it's clearly not him.
Yep.
But yeah, like you say, it's not
Clearly
she's
not
gonna
him,
think it's the sofa.
But what's
Even
the
though by this
alternative?
point, she does know something odd with the sofa, doesn't she?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's definitely something odd because somehow the sofa made the room go all red and dark last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she instantly I think anyone in that situation would assume it must have been TJ that did it. Because who else could have? There's no one else in the place.
So she kind of kisses him and is like, "Oh, thank you," and he's standing there thinking, "What?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Why has she put a load of candles out and she's thanking me for it?"
That's it. And he's all bemused, but he accepts it.
Well, yeah.
What an opportunist, TJ. Well
He's
done.
a terrible boyfriend, so he's just like, "Oh, I'm in the good books here."
Yeah, that's it. So I very much enjoyed that scene, and it was just the waking up to the candles and how the sofa was trying to woo her.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
So I like that very much. Now the next scene, and one of the reasons I like this very much is because of your favourite scenes, or where the sofa's doing the looks.
Yes.
Is when Ralph breaks into the house.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
So Ralph breaks in and he's in the process of putting a camera in Francesca's smoke alarm. Thank you very much. And we see, as he's doing it, we see the sofa. The sofa's in its position, but the backrest is turned looking at what he's doing. And I swear to God, the face of the sofa is kind of like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And exactly what are you up to? It's like, excuse me, I'm stalking this person.
It's literally
Get your own stalky. Thank you very much. So then Ralph crosses over to the router to plug in the transmitter to his home setup, and it kind of then pans across again to show you the sofa, and the sofa's face has followed him, and it's like, and again it's like, what now?
It literally turns its head.
You mean I could have done this and not and not have my legs cut off and put in a sofa? So yeah, it was brilliant. But then it doesn't just end there. So, and this is grim. This is really grim. Ralph then goes into the bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And he gets a bra from one of Francesca's bras and puts it on the bed. And then he gets one of her hats and molds it into a shape. Then he gets on the bed, pulls the covers over himself, and at a very strange angle. So like,
He's like bent over, isn't he, on
yeah.
himself? So.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not even that, right? So you've got the hat, which is clearly to be Francesca's. Well, you know what? And the bra is to represent her jubblies. Right? Jesus Christ! I can't believe I'm talking about this. So, but then he gets on. So they're facing one way on the bed, and then he gets on the bed the other way, pulls the covers over, and then literally is like bouncing up and down.
But he's bent over. He's not laying flat.
He's
bent
not.
Over,
Yeah, he's bent
but then
over.
the bed's going up and down, so the motion doesn't make any sense to what you think he's doing.
Doesn't make any sense.
So yeah,
And then
he's
you
not in
can-
a position to do that, is he?
No, he's really not.
It's bizarre.
It's so bizarre, and then you can hear him start going like saying Francesca's name and all that sort of thing, and then thank God for the sofa, because I think even at this point the sofa's like, I've had enough of this. So pokes his head in the door, sees what's going on, shuffles up to the bed, takes an iron off of the dresser on the side, and then, I mean, you don't even see the hit happen. You just see the iron go up, and then it's clong. And thank God Ralph's no more. Thank God. It was the funniest thing in the world, though. It really, really was. Oh.
It was just
Yeah.
so odd, wasn't it?
But that was my favourite scene. One, because Ralph gets his comeuppance. But two, mainly because of the sofa's reaction to everything that Ralph is
Yeah.
doing. This utterly bemused look. What are you doing? What are you doing? All the while, to us watching it, we're assuming it's a man inside a sofa that's doing the same
because
thing.
don't forget, all the way along, we don't know that the man in the sofa is dead, and it's just his corpse. We think that he's had his legs chopped off because he wants to go into the sofa, and then he's a living. Because I was even saying
He's a living sofa,
saying
yeah.
to you at one point, does he come out of the sofa to do things like the candles and stuff? And what
Well,
about going to the toilet?
That was the weird
and
thing.
eating and stuff like
There
that.
was one scene in it where Francesca wakes up on the sofa at one point, and a pair of her underwear is on the floor,
Yes.
and then there's another pair on the floor
Yeah.
a little bit further on, and she gets up and she walks towards him like, what's going on? And you see the silhouette of someone who's clearly going through her laundry, notices that they've been noticed, and then goes scarpering off out of a window. The bathroom window, in fact, the same one that Maxie goes out of. But it's never explained, is that Ralph? Is that the fella from inside the sofa doing that?
No. Or is that just her seeing things that we don't know, do we?
Yeah, because she does
She's
also
on
say,
some-
because of this Valerie woman, she'd been seeing a lot of visions. Her grandmothers used to see
She's also
visions.
popping pills quite a lot, isn't she? At one point.
Yeah. I mean,
She's
she
just-
is
yeah.
taking. She's like chowing down on those. Like
She's
the.
just pouring them into her hand and just taking them as many as she
Yeah.
wants. Whenever.
I mean, there was one point she was driving and she just took a big swallow of tablets and just what? Who takes
Doesn't
tablets
matter
like
how
that?
many.
Yeah,
Kind of does.
Let's count that out. What? So, yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Can we just quickly
go on.
talk about the alternative names for this film?
Oh
that didn't make it?
yes, yeah. What were they?
The lady and her lazy boy. Was it?
Oh, what was it? Yeah, I looked them up. So we, Emma, you mentioned before we started watching the film, this film's only got one title, right? Because a lot of movies we watch have got more than one title at the moment. They've got
Yes.
loads of different titles. And this one, we were like, nah, this one is literally just called Killer Sofa. I've not seen it called anything else. But in the trivia on IMDb, and I really love this, it was originally meant to be known as My Lover, My Lazy Boy.
That's it.
But they feared being sued by the Lazy Boy company.
Yes.
So then the
I
next
think that's-
name was going to be The Furnishing.
Yeah.
Which,
I like the first one.
yeah, the first one is great. The Furnishing, not so much. The Furnishing sounds like it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. You know, The Happening
Yeah,
or something.
I think Killer Sofa. Well, it does what it says on the tin, kind of. Apart from it's not a sofa, which will still.
Although that is also one
Killer
of...
Recliner, it should have been called.
Yeah, Killer Recliner. Yeah, yeah. One of the trivia is this. I'll read this word for word. The one-person recliner seat, the central character and subject of the movie, is not actually a sofa. A sofa is defined by Oxford Languages as a long upholstered seat with a back and arms for two or more people. The recliner in the movie is a one-seater, not a two-seater. A couch or lounge tend to seat several or three or more people.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. It says it in black and white in IMDb.
Yep.
So there you go. That's it. It definitely isn't the sofa.
I also want to just quickly touch on the cover artwork. We'll put a picture of the cover up.
Yes.
On
Yeah,
social
I'll use
media.
that.
But just note when you see this cover, the sofa looks nothing like this.
Mm.
I mean, on the cover, it's got big, huge teeth.
Huge teeth. Yeah.
And it looks really evil. In the film, it looks like Ted from the film.
Yeah.
Ted. It
And
doesn't look like... It looks like a cuddly little thing. It doesn't look
I
scary at all.
remember when we first watched this film. Well, when we first decided to watch this film, we'd watched something else, and we were flicking through films to watch
Yes.
next time or whatever, and we saw like that sofa on there, and we both went, watch the trailer for
We're
that.
watching yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have made it look a bit scarier than it actually is.
Then yeah.
Oh, there's a different one there. There's a different alternative, and it's still got the big teeth, and it's
Yeah, still got all the big
covered in
teeth.
blood, and yeah. So that's not the one in the movie.
No, it's not. The one in the movie does look like a normal sofa recliner, but just uncannily like it's got a face,
Yeah.
but no big sharp pointy teeth. No big sharp pointy teeth. All right, Emma. So shall we score this?
Yes.
Right. What would you give this movie out of 5?
Right. I don't know if it's going to surprise you, but
Go on.
I'm going to give it 4, which is the highest number I've given anything
It
so
is.
far, because I think it had quite a lot going for it. This one, it had
Okay.
the sofa itself, great character, great personality.
Yep.
Like that came across. I don't know how, but it did. Loved that. I loved the way it looked at things and you knew what it was thinking. It made me laugh in several points.
Yep.
There was enough going on. There wasn't too much going on that you couldn't keep up with what was going on, but there was enough going on that
Right,
there
yes,
was enough
yes.
deaths and things happening. We've watched other movies where there's not an awful lot going on and we've been quite bored.
Right. Yeah,
So
it's
this
true.
had enough going on, and also watching it the second time, we realised that it did actually explain what was going on, which we
Yeah.
don't very often get.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Although we did question whether that's us or the movies.
I'd like to think it's the movies.
I think since we've been doing the podcast, we are paying attention and taking notes and stuff. So we are trying to
Yeah,
follow
that's
it.
fair. Yeah.
So I think as bad movies go, also it's just the most ridiculous idea, isn't it, that this piece of furniture is killing people. So I think, I love the fact that his little springs came out and got people, and the way it went about things, and just so many little things in there, so many little touches
Yeah.
that they gave this, and when it talked and stuff, and the mouth moved, and just funny little things like that. So yeah, I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. I think.
You know what? I think I fully agree with you. I think I'm going to give this a 4 too. I really enjoyed it. I think if it's a sort of film though, if you sat down with your friends, you're going to miss a lot. You're just going to be watching it for the funny bits that are happening and the like, what's going on here? Oh my God, did you see that sofa? So you're going to enjoy it like that. And but actually, yes, you're right. It's got a lot going for it. It did got to give it absolute kudos for explaining the story and
Yeah.
getting to it all and covering all the plot points. Although, yeah, I forgot a little bit about whether, Gerard or Federico or whatever, but yeah, whatever. It was all explained in the movie,
Yes.
and it all made sense in the movie. So it's no plot holes. I think it's like a good ending as well,
Yeah.
where, the baddies win.
Yeah.
The baddies get released, and Francesca is trapped in
Did
this.
we mention that she's trapped in
No,
the
we
chair?
didn't mention it at the very end.
Because her friend looks into the eye, doesn't of the
That's right.
chair.
Her friend looks into the eye of the chair, and it's Francesca's in the eye, kind of receding into
Into darkness,
The darkness. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're into bad movies, this is a good one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely is a good one to watch. I think you'd really enjoy it. Anyone would really enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's enough hokey acting as well,
Yeah.
and there's enough people who are taking the acting deadly serious. But that's in some instances makes it a lot funnier.
Oh, Inspector Grape is just so wooden. Like there's just a couple of people in this are so wooden, but
Yeah.
it just makes it funnier because and some of the reactions or non-reactions to things, like we get this a lot in bad movies.
Yeah.
Something awful's happened, and they just have even no reaction to it, or like the most mild reaction, and you're like, that's pretty shocking. Like you'd have a reaction.
Do something.
So yeah, there's stuff like that is always, but that stuff like that is always comical in these movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's got kind of a lot going for it, and
100%.
I always have to compare to other movies we've watched because obviously, as we're doing this, you do, don't you? You compare back and think,
Yeah, yeah.
We've
Although
watched
I'm never going to
something-
remember. Like,
No.
do I prefer this film to Rubber? But did I score Rubber as high? I actually can't remember.
I think I gave Rubber a 3. I don't think I scored Rubber as high. I think Rubber had less going on. A
Yeah.
bit slower. But I think I think this season as well is so much better than last season because last season, a couple of the ghost stories we watched, again,
Oh, they're
not a lot
all
of
over
action,
the
not a lot
place.
going on.
Yeah, and they were all over the place in terms of, like,
And
no
you couldn't
explanation.
keep up with the storyline. There was no,
Yeah.
there was no explanation of what was going on and why.
Yeah.
And it was sort of cut to different scenes, a lot of them, and you're like, well, what's going on now?
But I
Where
think
are we
that's
now?
that happens a lot in horror movies because like
Yeah.
the horror movie audience are, I think, really badly treated by some of the people that make horror movies because they just think if we just make a horror movie and do anything and say anything and just make like a scary cover, it's going to end up on like the horror channel or it's going to end up on whatever that horror thing is on Prime or whatever.
Yeah.
And people will just watch it. People will just watch it because it's horror. And horror movie fans hoover up movies
Yeah.
constantly. They're big movie fans. And I think the people making the movies just take advantage of the fact that they really
Yeah.
enjoy horror movies and will kind of watch a lot. And that's what happens. But this one, I think, actually treats the people watching it with a little bit of respect, and
Yeah.
they've made an absolutely fine bad movie out of it. I mean, it's not a good movie,
But I don't feel
but
like
it's-
there wasn't opportunities missed. There's little
Yeah.
the little touches of the sofa looking out the window, the sofa turning its head. Those little touches made it, I think. The
Yes.
fact that was what gave the chair character, I think, was that there was those little touches throughout that just made you like, and you were just so. Every scene, I was like, "What's the chair going to do? Or what's the chair going to be looking at? Or where's it
Yeah.
going to move?" And yeah, so I think you've got to give it that. Yeah, it's not a good movie; it's a good bad movie.
definitely 100% recommend it.
Yeah, definitely.
Go and watch it.
Definitely try this one.
Absolutely, go and watch it. And I'm sure you'll agree that it's enjoyable. There are some stupid moments. There are some like what the hell moments. But it's good fun on it. It definitely is.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, Emma, I think we're done.
I think we are.
I think we are. So yeah, you heard us earlier. We gave a shout out to our Patreon sign-ups. If you sign up to the Patreon, you'll get your own name mentioned in the podcast too. All of our social media stuff is going to be tagged in the episode description. So yeah, if you're not already following us, please come along and follow us. If you're not following us on social media and you found this episode, well done. Because really well done. So you're probably following us on social media, but maybe you unfollow us on social media, but you forgot to stop downloading the episodes.
Maybe they just stumbled across us on Spotify or wherever we're...
So we'd love to hear what you think. And another thing as well, right? I feel really cheap doing this, but if you listen to the episodes, if you can get a chance to drop us a review on Apple Podcasts, which is where it's really going to help us, or wherever you listen to your podcast, if you can leave a review. If you listen on Castbox, I know you can leave reviews. I don't know if you can leave reviews on Spotify or anything like that,
no.
but reviews, especially good ones, if you can, just really help the podcast out. And, because if people are looking up bad movie podcasts, or they search for something like Bolly Rectory, and we come up on Bolly Rectory, they'll see a podcast, they'll see whatever stars on it and think, oh, there's a podcast about this, and they might even listen to it. You never know.
And also, feel free to get in touch with us on social media, because we'd love to hear your guys' opinions if you've seen the movie.
And let us know as well if you're happy for us to talk about your comments as well. Because I might start doing that, because I know a few people have messaged me separately to talk about some of the movies that we've watched. Like my pal Andy, if you're listening, thank you for all the input about the movies. It's been a laugh talking to you about it. But if you want to talk to us about them, if you've watched any of the movies, let us know. If you're
familiar with any of the ones we're talking about, then we'd love to hear your opinions on them. And do you agree with us on what we liked and what we disliked, and our ratings as well, especially? We'd love to get some feedback in terms of the actual movies as well.
Definitely.
Or if you know any little trivia,
little trivia bits
and stuff like that about,
because there's loads of stuff that we'll miss.
And there'll be loads of little facts about the movies that we might not necessarily know. So it'd be great to interact a bit more and get some feedback from the audience and see what you guys think. Yeah,
please do. So we'll leave you to think about that, and Emma and I are probably going to go and have a cup of tea now.
But we're also going to go over to the flip side.
Oh, you're going to do that? I thought you were flipping it and going to make me do the flip side there. Yeah, we're going to go. Well, it's still fresh in our head. We are going to record the
flip side,
and hopefully we'll see you there on the Patreon. Bye.
Bye.